Time to get to know the Buffalo Bills just a little bit better as we go team to team, presented by Cigna, proud partner of the Arizona Cardinals. Maddy Glab covers the Bills for the BuffaloBills.com, and 7-2 right off the bat, a great 9-game start. So what's been the mood in the locker room and then, of course, around the city on how well this team has been playing so far?
I would say in the locker room is quite different from the city. In the locker room, of course, this team is trying to be, as Sean McDermott pushes on the team week to week, is that they are a humble and hungry team. So I think that's the message that is kind of echoed through the locker room this season, and similar to last season when they saw some success making it to the playoffs. But this team wants to earn the right to every win. So they're taking it day by day, game by game, week by week, much of which you guys hear too from week to week for the Cardinals. But the city, on the other hand, I think is close to losing their minds with how good this team has been doing. I mean, 7-2 is their best start since 1993. So you're getting those Super Bowl vibes. That Super Bowl era was the 90s era. And so a lot of our fans, I think, are having flashbacks to those teams, just with the type of talent that is on this year's roster and just the growth that we've seen from Josh Allen. But yeah, within the locker room, they are being as professional as possible, just trying to make it through every game.
You mentioned him, Josh Allen, his improvement from year 2 to year 3, just the completion percentage. What do you account for how well he's playing and throwing the football right now?
Yeah, I mean, he was at 59% last season for completion percentage. In the first 3 weeks, he was averaging around 70%. Right now, he's at 68.89. So to see a bump that high in completion percentage, you do not see that really a lot in the NFL for young quarterbacks, especially. Just how he's grown from year 1 to year 3 is tremendous. And I think about the evolution of how he came into the league and where he's grown since coming in. He used his legs so much those first 2 seasons, running the ball a lot like Kyler Murray does, although the 2 quarterbacks look quite different in their makeup. But now he's been able to rely on his receivers. Last year, it was all about the run game. The Bills ranked top 10 in the run game last year. And this year, you're seeing the addition of Stephon Diggs, the rookie Gabriel Davis, the wide receiver, who's also been helping this team on the outside. And I think we're finally seeing Josh Allen's arm, which so many people talked about when he was drafted out of Wyoming, was just the potential of this cannon that he had. And he's been able to connect on deep balls this year because he has players like Stephon Diggs, John Brown, and Cole Beasley on his team. I was thinking the chemistry was going to be tough, especially with Stephon Diggs coming into this team in a season unlike any other, but their chemistry seems as good as it can be, and it's only improved with Cole Beasley and John Brown. So we're really seeing him rely on his arm this season and use his legs when he needs to. I think he's also grown in maturity with decision making and just learning how to take what the defense gives him. That's been a line that he's used quite a bit this season, and I think we're seeing it on the field. He's not playing as much hero ball this year. He did that a lot in his first 2 seasons.
Well, the Diggs acquisition certainly is paying dividends. He leads the league in catches and receiving yards, but the trickle down to everyone else in that wide receiver room and the offense in general, yeah, he's elite, but what has he meant to the offense overall?
Yeah, 63 receptions, 813 receiving yards. He was asked today by media if this is as good as it could have gone to this point. And he said he didn't come in with too many expectations just because of the 2020 world we all live in with COVID, not knowing what the season would look like. And I mean, if you rewind the clock, we at one point weren't even sure if we would really get a season. So I think he's excited and happy with what he's been able to give this team, especially the wide receiver group, because man, has he opened it up for other wide receivers to completely benefit off of the skill set that he has on the field. I mean, you have to deploy a game plan for him on defense. There's oftentimes 2 guys on him, so that means that at least one person is going to be open to ball out. And a lot of the times it's been the middle of the field there because Stephon Diggs most of the time works on the outside. So you get those flats really open, and we've seen Cole Beasley have a year unlike any other through 10 games or through 9 games, he's at career highs right now with receiving yards and can hit some more career highs if he continues to play the way that he's been able to play. Stephon Diggs finished off his media availability to say, by the way, Cole Beasley is always open. So it's been fun to see the wide receiver room just feed off of each other and also support each other in a lot of different ways. And a lot of that is thanks to Stephon Diggs and what he brings to that group.
Sounds very similar to what DeAndre Hopkins has meant here for the Arizona Cardinals and the offense overall. I want to get back to the offense. One more question, and that is just what we've seen of the last 3 weeks. Against Seattle, it was very pass-heavy. The week prior against the Patriots, let's run the ball. And even before that, let's throw the ball a lot against the Jets. What should the Cardinals expect this week offensively from the Buffalo Bills?
You know what? I was surprised that the Bills were able to throw the ball as much as they did against the Seahawks. Yes, the Seahawks were at the bottom of the league in total yards allowed and passing yards allowed per game, but you think, okay, I've watched the tape on Josh Allen and these wide receivers. We have to have a game plan to stop their passing attack, and they had Jamal Adams back. So I was thinking it was going to be a little bit more balanced, but there was nothing there from their secondary, and that's why those passing lines were completely open for Josh Allen. He had 31 passing attempts, 415 passing yards, but I've got to expect it's going to be different for this game. We had 190 rushing yards against the Patriots. I would expect a little bit more balance from this game. I mean, you guys have Patrick Peterson in the backfield. He's not going to make it easy for Stephon Diggs or any of the receivers that he goes up against. Your defense doesn't rank at the bottom of the league, either in passing yards allowed, more towards the middle of the league. So I would expect us to maybe set the tone with the run and then see what opens up in the passing lanes. But who knows how they get it started. I would just expect more of a balanced attack from the offense, just knowing that they put all of that on tape from last week, and the Cardinals are surely game planning to stop that passing attack.
As far as the Bills defense, can't forget about them, especially on how much they wreaked havoc against the Seahawks. 4 turnovers, that's back-to-back 4 turnovers for Russell Wilson, which is unheard of. The numbers don't bear it out, but it seems like it's a very opportunistic defense that Buffalo has this year.
Yes, the defense has really came alive in the last couple weeks, and it's been something that Bills fans have been waiting for. This was a defense that was ranked top 3 last season, and they returned a lot of the same players. The newest faces are up in front on the defensive line, and I think that's where this defense has kind of struggled the most, just trying to figure out that chemistry. They wanted to rotate quite a few defensive linemen this year, but I think they're finally finding their front 4 that they can rely on and feel safe with. So many talented defensive linemen on this team. You just have to figure out, who are the 4 that are going to work together. And we've dealt with some injuries too. I mean, Tremaine Edmonds, our Mike linebacker, who's one of the stars on this team, has been in and out with a shoulder injury. Matt Milano, our other linebacker, has been in and out with a pec injury. He missed last week's game. We've seen Levi Wallace, Josh Norman, and Tre'Davious White, all of our corners, miss games. And so when you don't have that consistency week to week, it's been tough for them to find their identity and find what they did last year and bring it over to this season. So I think in the last couple of games, they've really been able to find consistency, even though they're still without some of their glue guys. But this win that they had against the Seahawks and what they were able to do on defense, forcing those 4 turnovers, I think is surely going to help them into the rest of the season here.
Are they ready to handle Kyler Murray, though, as good as he is throwing the ball, his ability to run as well?
Well, Sean McDermott said this week that they haven't faced a mobile quarterback like Kyler Murray just yet. They had Cam Newton, then they had Russell Wilson, and now they have Kyler Murray. Defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier, when he was just asked about how do you game plan for Kyler Murray, he really got into, the Cardinals are really one of the only teams that bring so much from the college game into their current game plan week to week. It's something that isn't that familiar. Yes, mobile quarterbacks are quite familiar right now because the Bills have one of them, but the way that they use Kyler Murray, in the fact that he's so involved in that rushing attack is something that is still unique in the NFL. So he said they're going to have to figure out something new that they haven't been able to do before. And you look at this roster, and a lot of the current Bills players haven't played Kyler Murray ever. This is something that Sean McDermott hasn't had to prepare for yet. It's something that Leslie Frazier hasn't had to prepare for yet since coming to the Bills. So it'll be an interesting and unique opportunity for this defense to try and figure out ways to stop Kyler Murray. I want to know who they're putting at quarterback on scout team this week, because it's got to be somebody on defense with their speed. The last time that we played a quarterback with the speed like Kyler Murray, it was Lamar Jackson, and I think they used one of our wide receivers, Isaiah McKenzie, as the scout team quarterback because he's one of our fastest players. So I would assume they're maybe doing something similar or using one of our corners or safeties on scout team.
It should be a lot of fun, especially this matchup with two young quarterbacks, Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. Maddy, we appreciate a lot of your time here as we go team to team, presented by Cigna, proud partner of the Arizona Cardinals.